Today in the episode, special. Let's take a look at the best of your post-apocalyptic rides. Voice of the Wasteland, where we read your messages and choose the craft of the episode. And we begin with Workshop, the rain of fire that can be summoned at will. Artillery is the god of war, or at least that's what the warriors of the previous era used to say. Is it still true? Here's our answer to this question. The Mandrake howitzer. This is one of the most powerful weapons available to the people of the valley, but it won't click with many survivors. It's not just because this gun is really heavy and quite big. The Mandrake also has a very peculiar set of strengths and weaknesses. Let's start with the latter. First of all, limited vision. It's not immediately noticeable, but sooner or later, every Mandrake user comes to the realization that you actually need to spot the enemy first to make use of the gun's range and indirect fire capabilities. Obviously, survivors found a way to overcome this by building towers that allow you to see all across the map. But these towers don't live long. One random shot, and they're gone. Next, a massive dead zone. It's a harrowing experience to find that you're all alone and surrounded by enemies, ready to tear you apart like a pack of hungry dogs. In most cases, you won't be able to shoot at your own position, and that'll be it. The last thing is, the spread. To put it simply, the Mandrake won't win any awards for its accuracy anytime soon. We all had those magical moments when your shells fall everywhere around the target without hitting it even once, right? Obviously, this can be negated with careful play and specific upgrades, but is it worth it if you aren't backed by a clan? We could also mention its slow reload and the noticeable delay before every shot, but with that kind of damage, it's only expected. You could also say that the Mandrake is big and heavy, but the way it works means that you don't have to meet your targets face to face. You can simply lob your shells over cover, so that's also pretty fair. Strengths? Damage. Damage to that spot right there, thank you. And the unique thing about the Mandrake is that you can deal that damage right at the very beginning of a match. And if you have two of them, you can control two avenues of approach at the same time. Almost forgot. This howitzer has another peculiar trait that we have to mention. It goes like this. The stronger the enemies, the bigger their vehicles, the easier it is to hit them with your shells. In other words, the Mandrake favors the bold survivors that are ready to slug it out in high PS battles. If you opt for fighting smaller, more agile enemies on mid to low ranks, you'll have to work hard for every single hit. It might be a good way to train your aim, though. Before we go, a few pieces of advice from experienced artillerymen. First of all, the Mandrake is a very social creature. Almost everyone likes to have company in the wastes, but howitzer builds are always priority targets for the enemy team, so they need protection more than most. If you stray away from your teammates, you won't live long. Second, pick your targets carefully. A fast build that is always here and there, dancing in and out of combat, might not be the best choice for you. You'd get better results by sending a couple of shells to that tank man right there. They love the excitement of being bombed to hell. Third, know your maps. There aren't that many things in the world that feel as good as dropping your shells on some random point behind a hill, and then seeing sweet, sweet numbers on the screen. Yeah, you can sometimes achieve that just by being lucky, but it really pays to know popular routes and positions so that you can really feel like the true god of war. The last and the most important piece of advice, don't forget to regularly bring offerings to Odegod so that you get less spread and ward off evil shotgun wedges. And now, a short commercial break.
Feeling trapped in the memories of the good old days? Immerse yourself in the awful new days with just a single trip to the clean island. Completely different from falling into a pit or an acid lake.
Last time, we asked you to show us your perfect Wasteland cars, built to explore the dying world out there. And you know what? We had to to rent a whole hangar just so that we could have enough space for all of these vehicles. You sent us so many of them that even Big Man Bay Skara himself was spotted on the premises. And we had to somehow pick the most interesting, the most bonkers, the most dangerous, and the most immersive vehicle of them all. Pray for our souls. Let's start with the most interesting car. Actually, we didn't have to think too hard about this one. If you go to the exhibition and search for our tag, TGEM, you'll spot it immediately. People of the Valley love it, and so do we. A proper air cushion vehicle. We assume that it's a replica of some particular design. That's the only way we can explain why a generator was used to make a propeller. But that's just nitpicking. This build clearly took a lot of planning and work. And it's not all about the looks. Arguably, the best thing about the vehicle is that it makes you really feel like driving a real-life hovercraft. Ladies and gentlemen, Dusty Boat by Fox Race. Okay, it's time for the second round. The craziest car! In our opinion, it's clearly Rock 2 by Reaktivnia. There's no two ways about it, it was built with a single purpose in mind. For Nidhogs and the Cerberus, it's ready to rip and tear. Especially if you backed the enemy into a corner. And your weapons are mounted in a way that make a lunatic wet their pants, so that's a definite plus. Good job. Next up, the most dangerous vehicle. Honestly, it was really hard to pick the winner in this category, as you sent us lots of cars capable of decimating the population. Some of you cheeky lads even submitted cars that you clearly drive to battles every day. But it's hard to surprise us with wedges and heavy armor. We were looking for something with a bit of an oomph, with a bit more heat, just like Remedy, made by Marmaya69. It's glorious. It has 3 flamethrowers, a red color scheme, a nice profile, and naturally, Odegon's approval. And now, the last category, the car with the most soul. We wanted to pick a vehicle that we'd really love to drive through the majestic but dangerous vastness of the wastes. A car that we'd gladly trade 2 barrels of clean water for. Here it is, Wanderer by That Guy Fire. It might not seem like much at first glance, just a regular car. Nothing too crazy here. Look closer though and you'll see that it's made with utmost attention to detail. It's all carefully thought out. There's nothing aimless or random about it. Every single part has a purpose. It's also no slouch when it comes to raw firepower, making it a perfect vehicular companion on your dangerous journey to the other side of the dying world. Great job! By the way, speaking of user-made vehicles, happy birthday to us! That's right. At the end of May, we celebrate another anniversary of us living in the Valley. And we are happy to invite you to a new bonkers mode that has a bit of everything we like. It's free for all, on a special map, and with a selection of cool pre-made cars, made by you. Yup, all vehicles in this mode, just like in this segment, were designed by survivors, both solo players and communities. We hope you like it. Obviously, there are unique rewards, a new utility object for your range, and also, while we're at it, a new system allowing you to exchange non-tradable parts for upgrade stabilizers. Do you like our gifts? Happy holidays, survivors! The first message was sent by Buttercat. It goes like this. Paints are important in Crossout, so shouldn't there be an option to replace all of one type of paint with another without touching the other parts? Yeah, it would definitely be a nice little improvement over simply having to manually paint every piece. Hi, Butterpart. This is an excellent suggestion. Could be a pretty nice quality of life improvement. Added it to our backlog. Hail Hydra asks, can we get more Ravager decor? Maybe customization kits for cabins? I'm a fan of the original Ravager black and red color scheme. It is very possible, friend. No promises here, but it is very possible. Hail Hydra. Then there's this message by Alex102. Can Cyclones get a bit more armor? I mean, they have this huge shield covering them, but then they don't really have much armor for the size they have. Hi, We believe that the Cyclone performs well in its current state and doesn't need an HP buff. We're sorry. ZC Gamer and Reacts writes, I have an idea. A robot arm that can punch enemies to death. It can be a charge-up weapon like the Assembler. If you hold down on it long enough, you get a stronger punch. Well, according to lunatics, every car is already like a fist that you charge up by going faster. On a more serious note, it's an interesting suggestion. We'll think about it. And while we're at it, here's the thematic craft of the week. People of the Valley are used to settling their differences with large caliber weaponry. But have you ever wanted to get your point across with just a fist? We know you do. And now you have a vehicular option just for that. Here is Rocket Fist by Takashi Amano. Granted, it's quite tricky to kick anyone's butt with this fist. And believe us, we tried. But even the possibility of literally ruling over the battlefield with an iron fist makes us very happy indeed. Takashi Amano, thank you. That's it for today. Tell us what you think in the comments below, ask us questions, and if we somehow manage to stop celebrating our collective birthday, we'll return with some new crazy content in a couple of weeks. If you like what we're doing, consider subscribing, leave a like, and good luck.